Hello YouTube, this is Justin Game 44 here, and I'm finally going to do it. Review of SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom. This was made all the way back in 2003. I was only 2 years old at the time. Anyway, let's begin talking about this game. SpongeBob Battle for Bikini Bottom is a 3D platformer pretty much made by Heavy Iron Studios that made SpongeBob the movie game, the first one, and Truth or Swear. So, there is about a lot of stuff in this game that's really great. It has a tons of references from the first 3 seasons. It actually has great dialogue. Of course, they didn't have Mr. Krabs, voice actor, or pretty much Mermaid Man. However, though, they got all the others. They had Plankton, they had Bubble Buddy, they also had pretty much Patrick, SpongeBob, Gary, Sandy, Squidward, and also they had Plankton. Did I already say his name? I don't remember. Anyway, other than that, we also had Mrs. Puff, Larry, and a few others, I believe. Now, also, yeah, Barnacle Boy. Sadly, there's no Pearl, and there's no, like, the other supervillains. Other than that, let's pretty much get in. These are all the robots here. I won't go into detail what the robots do, but my favorite one, the way how it just looks, is Slick. Or it's Tartar. Yeah, I just like these two. Besides that, each robot's supposed to be like a small little enemy that can do an obstacle, could do a trick that would try to attack you. Some could even work together. Like this one and this one, I believe. Yes, it's a really fun and interesting game. Now, this is basically the story. The Duperton 3000 begins with Plankton trying to do that, but spoiler alert, he turns out he actually started on Don't Obey. The robots go on a crazy rampage and started killing everything that moves. Well, not kill, but just attack Bikini Bottom. SpongeBob wakes up the next day and sees his house is all a mess. So, what happens next? Well, SpongeBob, Patrick, and then Sandy will all work together, but you can't play all characters in 3 levels. And I mean, all in 1 level, I mean. Basically, switch SpongeBob to Patrick to SpongeBob to Sandy for each level. However, though, pretty much, we have 3 boss levels. Now, I want to discuss about these. We have 3 boss levels of small characters. We also have 3 robot big boss levels that we have to deal with every time we want to unlock a new area in the hub world. Now, let's discuss about the first one, King Jellyfish. The King Jellyfish is always the first one, but the thing, I could never really get to him, and it was that part with that long thing in Jellyfish Fields, that long giant bridge that would keep going down and everything, like a big hill. I eventually found a way, but I was able to skip most of it, and get to the part where it was just the golden spatula, right to the King Jellyfish. I don't remember exactly, but it was years ago when that first happened. Other than that, we have Prawn. Prawn is supposed to be a villain that was never seen on the show, but kind of looks like a fusion of Mr. Krabs and Plankton in some sort of way. Other than that, he's pretty much a villain that pretty much just got unfrosted, and at the end we frost him. The Flying Dutchman, pretty much that we're just fighting him to make a deal with him at the end to pretty much win. Other than that, the first one is Sandy. After we defeat the Sandy robot, we unlock a new hub area. It's pretty much just to expand it. And then the same thing with Patrick. As for the SpongeBob, it's versus SpongeBob, Sandy and SpongeBob versus Patrick robot, and Patrick and SpongeBob versus the Sandy robot. They're each creative and unique in their own way, and the SpongeBob one has 2 sets, the one outside and the other inside of his brain. The first level, we have Jellyfishing Fields, we have Downtown Bikini Bottom, we have Goo Lagoon, the boss fight, the Murmur Lair, Sand Mountain, Rock Bottom, and also we have pretty much this. We have the Flying Dutchman Graveyard Ships, we have the Kelp Force, and we have SpongeBob's Dream World, and Patrick and SpongeBob boss levels. At the end of the game, pretty much when you complete the SpongeBob boss level, you unlock a special new level that's pretty much just bowling, with end credits with it. So, what happens in this, pretty much all these levels? Well, for Jellyfishing Fields, we have to get the King Jellyfish ink, just pretty much to give it to Squidward so he can heal up his jellyfish stings. As for Downtown Bikini Bottom, we have to collect all the steering wheels just to give them to Mrs. Puff so we can evacuate the city. And there's so many turns, so we have to unlock all these roles and pretty much clean up some areas. For Goo Lagoon, it's where a robot pretty much took in everyone's sunscreens and we're going to try to destroy him. And after we complete the boss level, we unlock one. Just Fishing is a free level that you don't need any spatulas for. And as for pretty much Goo Lagoon, and that Downtown Bikini Bottom is 5 golden spatulas, and Goo Lagoon is 10 golden spatulas. And the Sandy boss level is 15 to unlock the new area after you complete it. Rock Bomb is a free level, and all of that. But let's talk about all the spatulas. Let's begin with all the other things. Rock Bottom is a really big and dark area. It has some Easter eggs from the show, and they really went far out expanding it to a complete museum. Mrs. Puff's in it where we have to collect all the art. And besides Sandy, we pretty much have one final last thing with that. We have Sand Mountain where you have to unlock 3 areas in Sand Mountain to get to it, where it helps Squidward to get more robots clear so we can get to Squidward. All you really have to do is just get through each race, and then pretty much after that you can go through Squidward, and he'll give you 1 golden spatula to clear. Of course, they're at the end of Sand Mountain. Other than that, pretty much the Murmur Lair is where we're trying to fix up the Murmur Lair. And other than that, we pretty much have the graveyard ships where we're helping the Flying Dutchman get his ship back. In the Kelp Forest, we're helping getting all the campers who are supposed to be the students from Mrs. Puff back. And finally, for this Dream World, it's pretty much just one spot that's free, the best level for last, where this level has all different types of areas. You have Sandy's Dream Bubble, with Dream Realm, where it's all supposed to be their houses, but smaller and more better looking, I think. It's supposed to be a big race. Squidward, Mrs. Krabs levels are Dream Worlds. And finally, Patrick, that's nothing more but a big void. However, though, this was not the original idea. The original idea was supposed to be like a food idea, but if you were able to unlock it from using cheat codes, it would pretty much be all glitchy and whatnot. So, other than that, what happens in these Dream Realms? Well, pretty much after you do all of that, if you complete 100 golden spatulas, you get pretty much the SpongeBob scene and all that stuff. Yeah, it is really interesting how all this stuff pretty much goes into the story. All these levels, all these characters. And there's also a moving sphere. If you get 40,000 signing objects, you can actually unlock the movie sphere that shows you concept art that they had some other ideas for. So, Bubble Buddy, let's discuss about some of these characters. Bubble Buddy is supposed to be a character that will, every time you unlock a part of the new hub, he will teach you how to do some certain things, like the bubble Viking helmet, the bubble torpedo, and the bowling ball. Yeah, bubble bowling ball, I mean. Every time you unlock the new hub area. You also have a bubble wand that pretty much you spin around. You also have, every time you jump in, you can quickly get down to the ground faster using the bubble wings, the bubble feet that pretty much helps you stomp on buttons that are on the ground. Now, for Patrick, every time you collect, pretty much robots took his stocks and everything. Every time you get 10, which there's about 80 in the game, you would immediately get 8 golden spatulas for 10 for 1. You get more and more shining objects. You can give them to Mr. Krabs, but he keeps rising up the price. And as for pretty much Sandy in the hub world, she's pretty much trying to get her dome fix. She's pretty much one of my favorite characters that's playable, though. She can spin around, she can actually use her lasso to fly, take enemies by surprise. It's really great. She's one of my favorites in the game. But other than her, Patrick pretty much doesn't do much besides slam things around and grab things. He's definitely a great character, but I kind of wish he could do better. But after all that, what do I think about this game? Well, it does get really stressful in the Kelp Forest, Dream World, and the Graveyard Ships, because these levels get harder and harder through passing time. Each level has about 8 golden spatulas each, except for the boss levels each have 1, but SpongeBob has 2. There were some original ideas, but I won't really go over them for the game. Besides, like the SpongeBob the original idea for the level, and also pretty much there were going to be some other ideas too. Away with Patrick's Dream Room, and all stuff like that. Other than that, pretty much all of these characters. Pretty much all these characters are great. This game is really still great up to date. Heavy Iron Steels were definitely great fans of the show, and I honestly think they did a great job of how they made this game. So with all that out of the way, I think this game deserves an 8 out of 10. There are some parts I don't like about the game, and some parts that did stress me out, but other than that, this game is really good and great up to date. I honestly think a lot of you should check this game out, if you want. And by the way, if you enjoy this review, leave a comment down below and a like and share. And plus, tell me if you wanted me to do the SpongeBob movie review game. If we get enough support, I will do it. Besides all that, this is Justin Game 44 signing out. Until then, I'll see you all later. Bye!